sometimes perfectionism can be a good thing. If you're like my husband, you might even get paid for being a perfectionist. But how do you make sure that your perfectionism doesn't cause the very thing you want to avoid? Failure or looking bad. Let's talk about the 10 habits to help you stop being a perfectionist that you actually practice until you perfect. There's a quote by Brené Brown that I want to read to you. It says, "Perfectionism is not about striving for excellence or healthy striving. It's a way of thinking and feeling that says, if I look perfect, do perfect, work perfect, and live perfect, I can avoid or minimize shame, blame, and judgment." Now, obviously, no one wants to feel those things, but when our desire to avoid them becomes so strong that it stops us from doing anything well, let alone perfect, we need to actually examine our habits. Because your mindset, even a fixed mindset of perfectionism, is just a habit, something that you learned over time. And with time, you can unlearn it and pick up healthier habits. So let's look at 10 habits you can start to practice now to help you stop being a perfectionist. Habit number 1 is to reframe your gifts. And yes, I said gifts. Perfectionism can be a gift when it's healthy, when you're using it in the right ways. What I want you to do, instead of trying to make things perfect, is reframe this. I'm not a person who needs things to be perfect. I'm a person who's really good at perfecting things. This little reframe helps you to focus more on the process of perfecting than the outcome of perfection. Why do we want to reframe this? Because if we keep criticizing ourselves for our perfectionism, that's just our perfectionism talking. If we can reframe it into a positive light and start to look at it in a different way, we can start to feel differently about it and we can start to act differently through it. Comment below with perfecting if this is clicking with you. Habit number 2 is to start to normalize failure. And how you do this in a habitual way is to read books about people's success journeys and the failures they had along the way. Look for people who are really successful and look for their stories. Maybe they did a podcast interview where they talked about the failures that they had. I also want you to look back on your own failures. Literally make a list of the things that you failed at and write down the good things that came out of that and how that led you to where you are now. As perfectionists, we can think that failure is a bad thing and that it should be avoided or it shouldn't happen at all. But the fact of the matter is, it's normal. It's a natural part of the success journey. If you want to be successful, you got to know all the ways not to do things as well as the ways to do things. And you only figure out what to do by figuring out what not to do. So it is a normal thing, and we need to normalize it in our language, in our stories, in the things that we immerse ourselves in, so that we stop feeling as though it's going to be the end of the world when it happens. Habit number 3 to help you stop being a perfectionist is to use a timer. Real simple, real easy. Put a deadline on individual tasks, not projects, right? We put deadlines on big projects and big goals. I want you to start putting deadlines on small projects. Okay, I need to research. I'm gonna set a timer. I'm gonna research for 30 minutes, and then I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna write my takeaways from that. I'm gonna proof this, but I'm only gonna proof it one time, and I'm gonna set a timer to do it in 45 minutes. And if it's not perfect at the end of it, oh well, right? We want to use these timers to be able to create boundaries for ourselves so that our perfectionism can't just run us off the edge of a cliff. In order to put timelines or deadlines on things, we actually need to do number 4, which is to break our big tasks down into really small steps. When we have a really big project, it's really easy to kind of get lost in the weeds and to get unfocused and to be able to let our perfectionism take over. We're looking at too many things all at once and we want to make them all right. But when we take these really big projects that feel overwhelming, that feel like we're not going to be able to get them perfect, and we break them down into teeny tiny steps, and I'm talking so small that it's like, turn on the computer. Yay, I did it. As you do this, as you mark off these little tiny steps, what you're actually doing is getting little dopamine hits in your brain that's saying, I'm good at this, I can do this, I'm a person who gets things done. That increases your motivation and it decreases your perfectionism. It starts to outweigh that story that says you're not good enough or that you can't do this, with plenty of little examples of ways that you are good enough and that you are doing it. I know it sounds super simple, but this is one of the most effective things that you can do to not let your perfectionism stop you or not let your perfectionism overwhelm you. Comment below with a break it down if this is something you already do and see the benefits of. The next habit to practice to help you stop being a perfectionist is to ask for negative feedback. Yeah, Negative feedback, which means after you have worked with a client or a customer or anybody at all, instead of saying, what do you think of this? Or what was your experience? Or, asking questions that might just elicit positive feedback, because people don't like to be critical. Most people, we all know those people. Most people don't like to be critical, so they're gonna give you positive feedback. What I want to encourage you to do is literally start asking questions like, where could this be improved? Where did this miss the spot for you? What could I have done better here? Now, some perfectionists need to avoid this. Some perfectionists need to ask for positive feedback and then just accept the positive feedback, right? Kind of like savor it, wallow in it a little bit. But some perfectionists avoid negative feedback because they take it really personally. What I want you to do is start using that to, first of all, desensitize yourself, right? The more you get this negative feedback, if you're focusing on it in the right way, it's gonna stop feeling negative and it's gonna start feeling helpful. So if you focus on it in terms of, this feedback is gonna help me to improve and perfect things over time, this is gonna allow you to get out of that it must be perfect frame of mind and into that I can develop this frame of mind. So what are some ways that you can ask for negative feedback? You can do this in your surveys, in your polls, in your requests for testimonials, when you're offboarding a client or a customer. Anytime that you would normally interact with a customer, you could just get into the habit of asking those types of negative feedback type questions. Number 7, one of the best ways, or one of the most important ways for us to stop being a perfectionist, is to change what we're saying to ourselves. So what I want you to do with this is I want you to actually grab a sticky note, a pad of sticky notes, and write these 4 mantras down. Number 1, it does not have to be perfect for it to be powerful. I want you to repeat this one to yourself on repeat over and over every day. Stick it anywhere you can, in your office, in your bathroom, in your car, in your wherever, so that you can remember it doesn't have to be perfect for it to be powerful. The work that you're trying to do in your business, in your life, you're wanting it to make an impact. You're wanting it to be good enough, right? But it doesn't have to be perfect in order to impact somebody. It doesn't have to be perfect in order for it to have a powerful effect. Number 2, progress, not perfection. As perfectionists, we can often look for the imperfections and forget to look at the progress, forget to look at the wins and the way that things are going, the direction that they're taking, the fact that they're indeed getting better and better. When we focus only on the outcomes, only on the end results, we're going to get discouraged because those end results are not going to meet our standards just yet. But when we're focusing on the progress that we're making and the fact that things are getting better, the fact that we're perfecting them over time, this can actually help us to let go of that perfectionism the more we practice it. Number 3, done is better than perfect. And if you have a million unfinished projects and you haven't finished them because you want them just right, and you've got to, research everything, and you've got to learn everything, and you got to do all the different things, and you got to add this, and you got to do that, and you got to redo this, done is better than perfect. Your work is not going to impact the market. It's not going to impact your clientele until it's out there. Get it out there. They're not gonna notice what you notice. They're not gonna realize what's missing that you can see is missing, because what you're doing is actually just gonna be supporting them where they are right now. It won't be perfect, but it will be in the hands of the people who need it. So this is mainly in regards to our work and our businesses, but this is in regards to your personal life as well. Done is better than perfect. Get the things done, get the goals done, do the things that you want to be doing, even if you can't do them perfectly, because doing leads you to perfection over time. But stopping, trying to get everything perfect before you do, leads you nowhere. And then number 4 for this mantra is trust the mother-loving process. Trust the mother-loving process. Write that down everywhere. As perfectionists, we want to control the process. We want to see all the ins and outs of the process. We want to know where everything's going to go before it goes there. And we get to trust that everything will unfold the way it needs to unfold, and that things will lead us to where we need to get to in 5 or 10 years. And that means that we won't know the entire process. We don't know the entire path, but we still get to trust it. This is something that you can really only develop through practice, through experience. So just remind yourself over and over and over again, trust the mother-loving process. Just show up and trust the mother-loving process. Because as you do and you start to see how things are actually unfolding, it's gonna look pretty damn perfect. Not 100%, but pretty damn close. Habit number 8 for perfectionists is to force yourself to ask for help. Even when you don't want it, even when you don't need it, I want you to set up ways, mechanisms that remind you to ask for help. I literally have a task on my to-do list, it repeats every day, that just reminds me to take some stuff off my plate, ask for help from somebody else, leverage somebody else's time or skills or talents. It is a constant reminder to myself that I don't have to do it all in order for it to be good, which is something that as perfectionists, we can really struggle with. We struggle to let things go. And so giving ourselves this reminder, right? Giving in some way, shape, or form, helping yourself to practice asking for help. Practice with small stuff first, right? Can you help me take the groceries in? Can you help me find my keys? Whatever it is, practice asking for help. And then practice showing gratitude for that help, even if it wasn't perfect. The more you normalize your ability to ask for and receive help, the more help is going to come to you and the better that help is going to get. But you can't get the level of support that you need if you don't first start asking for it. Number 9, remind yourself on a regular basis that letting go of things being perfect isn't the same thing as giving up. As perfectionists, we have high standards for our life, for ourselves. We want certain things. We want things to look a certain way. We want to see achievement and growth and progress in our life. And we can often feel like if I don't work really hard at this and make this just right, that's the equivalent of just quitting, right? That's laziness. That's being an underachiever. That's going along with the status quo. And oftentimes as perfectionists, we know very keenly what we don't want. And so we get so fixated on making things just exactly how we want them that really what ends up happening is we get nowhere, right? So we need to remind ourselves that it's okay to let things go. And that doesn't mean I'm giving up. That doesn't mean I'm going backwards. That doesn't mean I'm lazy. It doesn't mean I'm unmotivated. It doesn't mean all of the stories that might be going through my mind. It just means that I'm letting go of things being perfect so that I can make progress, right? Progress, not perfection. And understanding that over time, things will get better and better, but that can only happen if we're allowing ourselves to actually move forward. So how do you turn this into a habit? Same as the other ways. Get a sticky note, put it on your mirror, put it in your journal, write about it, put it on your to-do list every day. Do something where you're habitually seeing that reminder and saying that reminder to yourself on a regular basis. The more you see it, the more you repeat it, the more it becomes natural for you. Number 10, celebrate not your wins, but your mistakes. And I know that's super hard to do as perfectionists. It's hard enough to celebrate our wins as perfectionists, right? That itself can be a habit to practice, but celebrating our mistakes is even more crucial. So why would we celebrate mistakes? Because mistakes lead to progress. It leads to learning, it leads to wisdom, it leads to perfecting things. In order for us to get really good at something, we gotta know it inside and out. And so failures, mistakes, messing up can help us to learn those things, and it can help us to grow as individuals and just be strong, resilient, mindful, healthy, well-balanced, stable people. So celebrating those things helps us also to normalize them. It helps us to not feel so bad about them, to not feel like we have to hide them. I literally want you to create a celebration. I made a mistake. Awesome. I get to dance. I get to listen to some fun music. I get to eat some chocolate, have a glass of wine, literally celebrate them. Sit around the dinner table and talk about not what you did today, not what you got accomplished, not what went well, but here was my mistake today and here's what I learned from it. And I'm really excited for this mistake because it's going to lead me to this thing. What can you do to actually integrate this as a habit into your life? What would that look like? Maybe it's journaling, maybe it's sitting around the dinner table talking about it. What would that look like for yourself? Comment below and leave me some ideas of ways that you can actually turn celebrating mistakes into a habit so that you can normalize them, so you can feel good about them, so that you can let them go, stop fixating on them, and start actually making some progress. And I have a little bonus tip for you. Start making fun of your perfectionism. Like literally poke fun at it. Be silly about it. Call it out, joke, laugh about it. Because the more that you can take away the negative feelings around it, the more that you can start feeling okay with it, the more you'll be able to let it go and move forward. I also encourage you to watch the video on symptoms of perfectionism just to help you understand yourself a little bit better, as well as a video on symptoms of a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. All of these can help you to have some more aha moments that lead you to more growth and help you to stop being a perfectionist. Be sure to also comment with any other tips or strategies or habits that have helped you to stop being a perfectionist, and fist bump in the comments if you made it to the end of this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.